Hello guys, it's Jolanta from Soullight Space. I'm astrologer and tarot reader, but first of all, I am a deep soul diver, very passionate about psychology that you can find behind astrology. And I like to use both tarot and astrology in a very emotional, spiritual sense in order to help you grow, to show you how you can use certain events in order to release something, heal something, deal with your shadow. I now even see that I'm having like light and darkness here in the background, and this is exactly what I like to do when I talk about astrology, write about astrology, or when I do your natal chart readings or tarot readings, because that's my offer. You can find the link to my website below if you are interested in meeting me one by one and talk about your personal energy. But here's what I like to do. Like, I like to take this darkness that we have here in the back, which is Pluto, Lilith, 12th house, 8th house, 4th house, sometimes 2, moon, subconscious mind, and I like to pass it through into a more conscious level. Where's the light you see here? So it's like moon and sun. And when I think about this now, it's like this is exactly what we are having today, you know? Subconscious mind, darkness, repressed patterns. This is what you can see here in the background of my room. Darkness, what we don't see, things that are making us act in a certain way. Often, you know, it's like a pilot, like remote control, like there's something different steering our actions. And this is very often this suppressed subconscious mind, which you can also find in the moon placement. Moon is in Cancer. Cancer is this deep inner world. Our emotional hurt as well, very often. Lots of struggles that we went through in childhood, and they keep being there in the subconscious mind, in this dark area of us. And then on the other side we have moon, illumination, light shining on the moon, sun shining on the darkness, Capricorn here and Cancer here. Those two energies are now in opposition, exact opposition, and that's when we have full moons. This is exactly the definition of that. Sun and moon meet in opposite signs. They trigger this axis of polarity, and as you know, if you know a little bit about astrology, in astrology we have like this, you know, dance of opposition all the time going on. Capricorn is connected to Cancer in terms of contrast, in terms of this opposition energy. But at the same time, they also have some things in common. And that's why there's always a possibility to find compromise, find balance, and make those two energies of the moon in Cancer and sun in Capricorn that we are having today. There's always possibility to find some middle ground for them both to exist. So especially if you in your personal horoscope have Cancer and Capricorn placements, then you can feel this full moon very strongly, because this is your all lifetime struggle, or maybe it's not struggle anymore. Depends if you work on that, because you can integrate those energies, and now we can only feel some sort of even reward, or just, you know, this inner sense of feeling like, yes, I achieved that. It's not so tense anymore, this Capricorn Cancer energy. Like, I don't feel like I'm jumping from one extreme to the other, but I feel like I let them play together, but not in a very toxic extreme sense that, you know, if we think about Cancer Capricorn, how this could be toxic, unhealthy, unsupportive, is when we jump from one extreme to another. Too many emotions, Cancer, you know, a lot going on. So instead of dealing with those emotions, we escape to Capricorn to work, and we just work, and we try to repress all that happened. You know, that's some sort of escaping into work, escaping into pragmatical stuff. If you overwhelm yourself with a lot of things, then you don't feel actually what you feel. Like emotions are locked somewhere in this darkness, right? So those kind of extremes, they happen a lot to people who have Cancer and Capricorn placements, or you have those signs on angles, ascendant, descendant, AC, MC. And at the same time, today everybody can feel this part of their chart. So wherever you have Capricorn and Cancer in your chart, you can find out, you can just generate your chart in the internet and see where is the Cancer sign. I am actually prepared. I have a special t-shirt for a zodiac witch. So here's the sign of Cancer, and down there, let me find, here is Capricorn. So those two signs, if you find them in your natal chart, and if you see the number of the house in which they land, and then you can try to connect better what type of area of your life is under Capricorn and under Cancer energy, and then you can see better in which parts of your life those energies actually are most active, most visible. So it's like all about connecting those dots for deeper, more personal insight. But in general, if we want to speak about the full moon, then most important thing we need to know is that, first of all, it's happening at 16 degrees Cancer. That means that all the cardinal signs around 16 degrees, let's say 5 plus minus, okay? But of course, the most strongly it's gonna be, this will be most stronger for those who have exactly 16 degrees planets in cardinal signs, which is Cancer, Capricorn, Aries, and Libra. So if you are one of those people, this full moon is for you, and you can definitely use it for some sort of release, healing, letting go. Second thing we need to know about the full moon is like what full moon actually represents in a psychological, evolutional healing level. I already mentioned how does this work out in a physical sense, like we have here. I showed you here the sun in Capricorn, and here's the moon in Cancer, oppositions, and they face themselves in that way, in pure opposition. This is the full moon. But in a psychological sense, this is the days actually, 3 days before, 3 days after. We can count all week where we feel strongly this tension, especially 3 days before full moon. This is like, growing step by step. On the full moon, we usually have the release of energy. Many kind of dramatic things happen during this day. Not in the sense that there is something wrong happening. It's just all about those energies finally resurface, and we do something out, like based on those energies. Maybe there is some conversation, some action going on, or we just feel so overwhelmed that we just need to go into ourselves, within, cry, reflect, write down what we feel, all those things. So it doesn't have to be something external. It can be totally happening inside of you. But the thing is that during full moon, usually we have this higher peak of energy, release of this energy, which usually gives some sort of relief, because we finally let this out and we start to feel lighter afterwards. And then next few days after the full moon, after this high energy that we experience, we also need some sort of retreat, relax, and some sort of we need to process what we actually saw during the full moon also. So full moon is about endings. This is the final stage of moon phase. So symbolically speaking, we are closing some chapters. We are letting go of some things. We are releasing all that is not serving us. We treat this day as a detox on a psychological level, but also on a biological level, physical level. That's why I have here my cup. I hope you too. If not, you can stop this video for a second and go to fill up your cup. The best is warm, pure water. And I always repeat that full moons are not only about emotions, they are also about our body. Our body naturally is cleaning up. So the more you drink, the better diet you follow those days around the full moon, some diet that is helping to remove toxins from your body, the better, because this time of the month is really the best for that. And that's also the time when we are illuminated. As I mentioned, light of the sun, darkness of the moon, a conscious mind, subconscious mind. Here we have some sort of meeting of light and shadow. That's why during full moon there is often some truth coming to the surface, and this truth often is showed by our emotions. That's why it's recommendable not to escape from your emotions, but feel it all, because every emotion is a messenger. Every emotion holds some sort of information for you about in what state is your soul, is your heart, what is going on deep down inside. It's like when we live this pragmatical, practical life that is represented by Capricorn, working hard a lot, always being busy, going here, going there, dealing with mundane kind of stuff. We often don't even know how we feel. It's like we are just so focused on what we need to do on a daily basis that we just don't have this free time for ourselves to sit and actually ask ourselves, like, how do I actually feel about it, And this full moon is for you to stop for a second and see how you actually feel, because feelings give you a lot of information about what's supposed to stay in your life and what's supposed to be or changed or maybe totally released. What could be actually, what you could end during this full moon. I'm talking about everything because, every one of you has Cancer or Capricorn in different house of your chart. You have different placements, planets, aspects. It's like, every full moon needs to be actually seen on a transit chart for each person individually. But on a collective level, Cancer speaks about family, speaks about mother, relation with parents, childhood, your story, your roots, where you are coming from, your land, your hometown, our ancestors. We can even go way much more behind in the story and think about our connection to people who, lived way much before us, and thanks to them, thanks to the fact that they lived, we live now. It's like this genetical kind of journey as well. So we are focusing mostly on this area of our life, and there needs to be done some sort of healing, completion, as I mentioned, letting go. So today, the most important thing I would like you all guys to think about is your relationship with your family, with your mother, with your father. Capricorn represents this authority figure. It can be father, it can be any other person that holds big power over you or used to have power over you when you were a child. It can be some sort of despotic kind of energy. It can be also government. Anything that makes you feel like you are on a weaker position and you need to listen to this authority figure. And then on the other side we have Cancer, very sensitive, overprotective, the energy that needs care and love and peace, and definitely doesn't feel so well under this authority figure kind of pressure on Cancer, right? So here we have this axis where we can think about what we can heal on this axis. If you had, for example, a mother or father or any other family member that made you feel not so well when you were a child, and that behavior or, for example, not giving you enough care, not giving you love, not giving you support, not making you feel protected, safe, not making you feel at home in home. I mean, when you were inside the family dynamic, or when you were a child in your home, maybe you didn't receive what cancer needs, this feeling of I am safe, I am at home. If you didn't receive enough of this in your childhood, today you can try to reflect on that and try to heal that. Because what we experienced in the childhood, and if we didn't heal that, we go with this baggage to next chapter of our life, which is called adulthood. And we often expect that partners, friends, even co-workers, we kind of demand from them to give us what we didn't receive as children. And if we don't get it, we get frustrated. We start to feel low emotionally. We feel like, no, this relationship is not working. I don't want this anymore. I'm quitting this. This can create a lot of tension in a relationship dynamic, toxin, codependency. Often if we have unresolved childhood, we act as kids even though we are adults. We have this sort of expectation that now everybody needs to give me everything that I didn't receive when I was a child. And this can be really overwhelming, for example, for your partner or for other people around you, even for your children, because some parents, unhealed parents, adult people still having this hurt inner child in them, they might even use children in order to bring them this energy that they didn't receive, all that cancer needs, right? So this is really crucial to heal, in my opinion, all the childhood story that you had, and also face the fact with all the honesty possible, but also with all the self-compassion possible, that, childhood is over. You are not a child anymore. Other people around you, other adults or your children or your friends, they are not responsible for healing you. They are not responsible for now do some sort of recompensation for you for all that you lack in the past. This doesn't work like that. We as adults, we need to make peace with our childhood, with our story, and we need to understand that we cannot overwhelm other adult people who also have struggles in their lives with, like healing us. They cannot heal us anyways, So facing that truth that now you are responsible for your healing, now you need to be this parent that is giving all the love and care possible to the inner child that you still have inside of you. Every person has an inner child, this, this part of you that is still playful, joyful, innocent, that has also those needs that I mentioned about being loved and protected. But now we need to create this home dynamic within. And we need to become our own parents to ourselves. And one of you asked me today in the comment section on Facebook how actually I can become this empowering parent for my inner child. Well, this takes some time to learn. And I always recommend some sort of therapy, or at least using all the materials that you can find. For example, on YouTube, there's a lot of books and articles as well in the internet about healing your inner child. There's like so much to read and learn about that. So many techniques that you can use. So it's all about searching in the internet, finding people who speak to you in a way that you feel like this is the right way for you. Because, also every therapist is a different universe, and you need to find a person that really, like, you feel like this person gets you, and, you feel like this is my person I want to work with. And so this is a deep healing of shadow, of childhood wounds, of trauma. And I cannot do this through YouTube video, definitely. But my suggestion is that doing this, searching for yourself, for your own techniques. And it's all about meeting yourself on a deep level, going a little bit away from others, being in solitude, not being scared of being by yourself from time to time, because there's where you can meet this inner child as well. It's all about self-reflection. When you see yourself like acting like a child in your relationship at work, in situations where you're supposed to actually be more maybe stable, more mature, more logical, but you act out of wounded emotions, So this might be trauma, past trauma resurfacing suddenly, and not in the proper situation, You know how trauma works. If it's not healed, it's back there in the darkness, and then you receive some little trigger, something that is just a little bit similar to what happened there in this big traumatic situation, and at once you feel some sort of strong emotions. You are angry, you are sad, you start to cry, you become dramatic out of nowhere, and people around you are like, what is going on? Like, I didn't make such a thing to put you in such a state. That's because this trauma is unhealed, and it's waiting there in the box to be open, and transformed. In order to transform trauma, first we need to face it. Actually, we need to admit that, yes, I have trauma, I have issue because of this trauma. I'm acting out of my trauma still, and it can be something that happened when you were 5 years old, 10 years old, 15 years old. It can be your anger towards your parents, that they didn't take the proper care of you as you needed, or maybe you have abandonment issues. Especially in my generation, I remember there was like a lot of couples going for separation, people also moving abroad to work. So one parent was abroad, one parent was at home. Sometimes both parents were abroad working and kid was with grandparents, for example. Like, there was a lot of this sort of situation. Also addiction, alcohol, escapism from problems, to some sort of addictions that your parent could have. Many dysfunctional things could happen in lives of many of you, and we, under this full moon, are asked to really look at this with pure honesty and see, okay, this still needs healing, that still needs healing, this also still needs healing. Maybe you have some sort of dreams, or you think a lot about certain things happening to you. It's very good to even, go through your old pictures, reflect about your childhood today, think how your childhood might still affect you. And of course, it can be also positive, because from the other side, for those of you who had a nice childhood and you miss those days, and you maybe feel like now this adulthood is overwhelming you, it's like so many things to all the time think about, organize, no jokes here anymore, nobody will do this for us anymore. Also 2020 situation, right, when we really lost the sense of stability, and Cancer speaks about that, this emotional stability. So many things happen in last year. So even if you don't have any problems with your childhood, if your childhood is fine, if you don't need to, I don't know, maybe have some conversation with your mother or father, or write a letter to them without even sending it, just to release those energies. You can write a raw letter, write all that is coming to your mind without any correction, and then you can even burn this letter. You don't need anybody to see it. It's for you, for you to get those energies out of you. But at the same time, if we think about 2020, so 2020 started with eclipse in Cancer. That time, North Node, which is like guiding point for us, where we're supposed to head towards, was in Cancer. And that was January 10th, exactly in this time when we had the famous virus showing up in our lives, and also Saturn-Pluto conjunction, destruction of old system. Yes, Saturn represents tradition, old system, and Pluto is transforming that, destroying it and making something new out of this. So those energies, they met together also on this eclipse. So if you think about how 2020 worked after that, that was like, you know, less of what South Node represents, which is Capricorn, today's axis, right? Capricorn and Cancer. So Capricorn, South Node, less of all this overworking, workaholism, being focused only on money, on productivity, of overworking to the max, to the point that you have no time for family, no time for your home life, no time for private life, and no time for actually feeling your emotions, because it's way much easier to work in, you know, robotic kind of system when you are like Capricorn. You just work, you know, productivity, you get some sort of satisfaction every day from your achievements, but you are disconnected from how you feel. And on the other side, North Node in Cancer, more, you know, North Node makes things bigger because it's guiding us towards this energy. So we had suddenly way much more time at home. You know why? We also were forced to reconnect again with our roots, with our family, with our homeland, because people couldn't travel. People had to stay at home where they are. Also, I think the separation with family, that was also involved in those times in 2020 when we couldn't meet, we couldn't have like Christmas together. You know, I think this also showed the value of family for many of people. They suddenly started to miss those meetings. They started to appreciate the fact that they have family, that they can spend time together, and they started to crave those moments when this will be back again, when those lockdowns will be over, and when we can see each other again. So you see, that was this eclipse Cancer Capricorn in 2020. And 2020 took a lot of things away from our lives. A lot of stability was gone in 2020, you know. And that's because people, I think, in many cases, they built the sense of security, stability on the material world. But remember, we have Uranus in Taurus. Taurus represents possessions, material things, money. And Uranus is changing that, is making surprises, is showing us new paths of reaching to what Taurus represents. Also, Taurus is worth, values, self-worth as well. And, you know, for many people before 2020, as we were so like overworked and so focused on productivity, many people built the worth of themselves based on how much money they have, how many cars, what kind of house they have, what kind of luxury vacation they can buy for themselves. You know, this was given people the sense of, okay, I'm worthy because, you know, I have this, I have that. And I think Uranus in Taurus is also teaching us to reflect about this. Is that really the true value of human being? Or maybe we should think about values that Cancer represents. Because today we have Uranus in harmony to full moon, Uranus in Taurus. This shake-up in the material world I'm talking about is in harmony to Sun and Moon. So that means that this full moon is also is wanting to help us in this journey of seeing value somewhere else. And as we have this Capricorn Cancer axis, maybe it's time to reflect if we shouldn't maybe try to build our safety and sense of security and sense of worth, Taurus worth, inside, in ourselves. in what quality of thoughts we have, our emotions, our empathy, how we treat people, how we treat ourselves, because self-compassion is also important. You cannot be just, good to people around you and at the same time treating yourself badly in an auto-destructive way. Every single being deserves same good energy from you, including yourself. So I see a big lesson here as well. And at the same time, if we jump to another topic of Cancer, Capricorn, I think I need to drink a bit. So we have here Capricorn stuck in tradition, stuck in old system. Capricorn is like this stone, this is the Saturnian energy of the old, following what your ancestors built, or following those rules and all this structure that was created long time ago, and we followed that without even thinking why we actually do that. It's like it was always there, so we just do the same stuff. And Cancer at the same time is a comfort zone, emotional comfort zone. Cancer also likes to kind of be in the same place. That's why I have a Cancer moon, and I see this in myself, that I like to return to same places. Once I have some friends, like even if for a while I don't talk to them, anytime I go back to them and we start talking again, it's like nothing changed. This is a very strong emotional memory that Cancer has. Emotions for us almost doesn't change once we feel them. So this energy can also easily get stuck in the past and think that past was the best, and now whatever comes next will never be the same. We will never reach such a level of happiness, for example. That's why also Cancer energy sometimes can be clingy, needy, and can be very codependent, and might have problems with letting go of things. And that's why around this full moon we can have this energy of thinking about the past, longing for what is gone, for maybe our childhood energy, if that childhood was cozy, peaceful, loving, and now we don't have this energy anymore in our life. We might feel nostalgic about past relationships, thinking about those people that provided us with care and love, and now they are gone, and we need to adapt to a new situation. Also, again, this 2020, right? So that was a big transformation for the whole collective and the whole world. Like, people lost jobs, they had to move sometimes to different places, businesses collapsed, everything changed, and people were like shocked, like, what is going on? Also, of course, due to medical situation in the world, many people lost people that they loved. I also lost people in my family due to that. And, that was also like one huge collective facing of the topic of death. And this is the strongest way of cutting the past, of closing chapter. Once somebody is gone in a physical sense, like by dying, that's over. It's like this person will not return to you anymore, right? So this is the strongest experience someone can have in terms of losing something in life. So, we went through a lot in the last 3 years, from 2020 till today. Those years were very shakeable, very unstable. People were actually not feeling safe in on this planet anymore, right? Also, this ecological stuff going on, political stuff, economical stuff, everything is changing now, and we might feel unstable in this. But Uranus in Taurus, in harmony to this full moon, is showing us that it's okay. We are heading towards a new world. We are opening new chapter. So please make peace with what had happened. If you need to cry, cry. If you need to feel deeply all that happened, do that. Today it would be really good just to let yourself feel. And if you can find yourself a place where you can feel safe, where nobody will hurt you, nobody will say something harsh to you, where you can just be yourself, feel whatever you need. And also, take care of yourself on a even physical level. Eat some good meat, some nice warm meat that you like. Drink a lot of warm drinks as well, because warm temperature in your stomach also sends this signal to brain that you are safe, that everything is fine. That's just how our body works. Also, it's very recommendable to be by the water in nature. Water calms down our nerves, especially water signs. They can really have a huge benefit from being by the sea, by the river, even the sound of water. And if not, you can make yourself a nice bath in a kind of Taurus way, be in the water, put yourself some candles around, treat yourself with kindness, with care today, and to calm down this tension that can be hard for some of you. But at the same time, I do trust in the process. I believe that we really need to make the final peace with all that happened in the last 3 years, in your childhood, in your past, and close this chapter for good. That's also because we have Lilith in Cancer since April, and she is ending her cycle in Cancer now, this month. So look how magical, everything is so aligned. Like this full moon is happening right before Lilith in Cancer will end being in Cancer. And Lilith is shadow work. Lilith is this is the symbol of this repressed energy that is acting, as I explained in the beginning about this, the background there, the subconscious mind. Lilith is there, yes? Lilith is there acting in the backstage, and you might not be really aware why you do certain things, why you sometimes become so angry at some people without big reason. That's because they trigger your Lilith. And your Lilith, if she's not healed, she might actually have a big power over you. And working with Lilith, which first of all means facing the truth about yourself, which might be not so nice, because you might need to admit to yourself that you also have some darkness inside of you, that you act not always in the way that you would like to. Lilith is all that we are ashamed about ourselves. We don't want to see that. We don't want to face that. And this is a very tricky energy, because we often don't even know that she exists in us. And Lilith in Cancer talks about motherhood, our mother. This is this feminine energy. This also talks about us repressing our vulnerability. Maybe when you feel something, you feel weak, for example, and you prefer to be like Capricorn, strong, stone, unshakable, going to work every day, achieving a lot, ambition, profession, and stuff like this. And once you get in touch with the Cancer energy, you feel like you are like a loser, crybaby, weak and stuff, and you need to be strong. That's not true. I mean, everybody feels emotions. The problem is that people who doesn't accept that they have emotions, they end up there, with a lot of shadow and background of their psyche. And then they have also a lot of work to do to go back to those emotions that they didn't want to feel, but they are still there. They need to face them again. They need to understand why they felt that way. They need to transform it, and then they need to bring this stuff to the light. And after that, this part of them is healed once it is released, understood, processed, and closed. Maybe often forgiveness also is needed in this sort of process. But this is a long therapeutical process. That's why I always recommend you just let yourself feel, and not only on full moon, but anytime. If you feel angry, I admit that I'm angry now. I'm angry, and you need to find some sort of practices that can help you also to take this anger away from you. You don't always need to yell at your boss and lose your job, right? But then after you finish your work, you can go somewhere and, work on a deep level with this emotion. You can maybe do it through writing or creating art or just talking with somebody and just admitting to yourself, now I feel angry because this and this happened. Don't push it, into the background of your psyche one more time. It's like, this will not help you much. We always need to feel what we feel, and then this darkness becomes lighter. There's like less and less shadow in ourselves. Same thing with childhood, sometimes it's good just to release this anger that we might feel to our parents. Sometimes we might be blocked by the sense that, by tradition, we're supposed to respect our parents, we're supposed to listen to them, we should not be angry and stuff. But, if you feel angry, then you feel angry. That's it. It's like, just accept that. Just like the sun is shining and so on, certain things just happen, and I think that the best stuff we can do for ourselves is just to be authentic. And as I mentioned, you don't need to express what you feel to others. You can do it with yourself. You can be your own best friend, and you can express your anger, even, self-talk or writing, as I mentioned, writing the letter. This is very helpful. Just, let this energy out. That's the best thing. And as I mentioned, today we have this completion of full moon, and also we are about to end the Lilith transit in Cancer. That means that right after the full moon, moon will also cross Lilith. Lilith is at 29 degrees, the anaretic last degree. So once the full moon at 16 degrees happens, it will touch Lilith. And will also trigger Pluto, because Pluto and Lilith, they are in opposition for many weeks now. I was talking about that in my December video. So we have this parental axis triggered now, right? Father-mother energy, healing childhood, also healing patriarchy and rights of women, also healing social pressure. Capricorn, Pluto is like this control and following tradition, for example, traditional role of woman in society. And on the other side, we have rebellious Lilith that is independent, that wants to decide by herself how her life looks like. And being in Cancer is about having children, about being pregnant, about being this nurturing housewife, wife, family kind of person. So Lilith in Cancer, it's a very nice healing energy also for those of you who doesn't want to follow this role, this old traditional vision of how woman should look like, of how a life of woman supposed to be in order to be treated like, yes, like she fulfilled her feminine role in society. She has a husband and children, and now she's a complete woman, right? Lilith in Cancer is like, fuck this. It's like, what? Who are you to tell me how I'm supposed to live? It's like, my body, my choice. Maybe I don't want to have children. Maybe it's not satisfying me to be mother. Maybe I have other plan for my life. Maybe my energy doesn't resonate with this old tradition that Pluto in Capricorn represents. Maybe I want something different, so just let me be, okay? This is kind of like Lilith in Cancer energy. So we were having this for a few months now, and now we are ending this. So expect that during this weekend also we might have this sort of reflection. Also reflection about our type of motherhood. If you are a mother, or you want to be a mother, or you just have some children in your family. Like I have 2 little girls of my cousin, and I was also taking care of them recently. And I was also having this experience of seeing myself as a mother, like what type of mother I represent with my energy, right? Very interesting observation. And I could also see kind of if that would be satisfying me or not. So those topics as well. As I mentioned, yeah, releasing past, releasing old stories, all that was giving us comfort and now it's gone. And with Uranus, again, stay open for the new, because the new is inevitable. We cannot escape from the future. Past is gone, and past only exists now in our memories. And it would be good to work with those memories in the sense that they are working for ourselves now. They are working in our favor. For example, thinking about past can create a lot of gratitude. You can fulfill yourself every day with this sense of gratitude for what you have experienced, for what type of relationships you had in your life, maybe something from your childhood, concentrating your energy on those good things that happened to you is very empowering. And at the same time, healing those parts that are sad, that are hurtful, painful, that makes you feel like, your life sucked in the past. You can still transform it. You can treat your pain as a wisdom, as some sort of, foundation for your spiritual growth. Because remember that most spiritual people, they started to be interested in psychology, spirituality, astrology, because they had issues, psychological issues, and they usually come from, some unhealed past. So they started to search for something deeper. They started to look for some solutions. And now they are on the path of growth. So you can also treat this with gratitude, that without that you wouldn't be where you are. Your pain also gives you, from the other sense, like it's very empowering. It's like the Scorpio Phoenix rising energy. When you go through something very hurtful, but you are able to, survive, you are able to overcome this, and you are able to treat other people with more compassion and empathy and kindness in the future, because you know how it feels to be in sorrow. So then again, pain can give you more beautiful qualities of being a good person, of have a good heart, because you don't want to hurt people like you were hurt by others. And this is also some sort of lesson. And also always remember that your parents or any person in your family, in case you were hurt by somebody, maybe abandoned by somebody, remember that they also had some sort of childhood, and probably the generation before us was not that interested in spirituality and psychology like now the Pluto in Scorpio generation is, from those born from 83 till 95. Pluto in Scorpio generation, deep shadow workers, people searching for something more on a psychological level. We are transforming this world now with this healing power of Pluto in Scorpio, because we are digging really deep. We are trying to find out why we are doing certain things. And this is the way how we can transform this world. So if you have Pluto in Scorpio, then you are one of those people who are turning shadow into light, who are asked to close those generational trauma, who are asked to heal this world with choosing that I will not be like my parents. I will close this chapter. I will just, cut this chain of generational patterns, of addictions, of darkness, of treating your emotions in an auto-destructive way. So we have a huge potential also to change, to turn this darkness into the light, like you can see on the picture behind me, as I mentioned before. So there is a lot of topics going on in this full moon. Expect that after full moon, it's going to be still quite deep and intense because of this Lilith-Pluto activation right after the full moon. The next day, we will have this kind of energy. And also remember that after the full moon, we have new moon in Aquarius. Aquarius is future. Aquarius is the new, modern. And Capricorn Cancer represents being attached to past, being attached to old methods of doing things, of, this is this continuation of this ancestral kind of energy. What our grandparents, what our parents used to do, now we continue that, right? So with this full moon, we are actually asked to release that, because the new world needs something else, and the new world will come, you want it or not. In March, Pluto enters for the first time Aquarius, then we'll be back in Capricorn for a while, for a few months, and then it will stay in Aquarius for the next 20 years. And Pluto in Aquarius, one thing you can be sure, there will be a lot of change. And change is something that Capricorn and Cancer doesn't like that much. Cancer likes to feel this protection inside this comfort zone, which is often represented by home or family, or this inner kind of world, this introverted kind of energy where we are like inside of us. Capricorn follows old rules, as I mentioned, Saturn and tradition, but this is basically history now. From 2020, we are in a huge transition that will last for the next decade. And we can expect also with Uranus in Taurus that is also changing a lot our sense of stability and values, as I mentioned. The motto or mantra of those years is the only constant in life is change. And with this kind of information, I would like to leave you for this full moon. There's way much more I could tell, but I don't want this video to be too long. I posted also some things on my Facebook and Instagram, so you can have a look. It's the same name everywhere, is Soul Light Space. I will also link everything down below in the box, so you can jump into my Facebook, you can jump into my Instagram, where I will definitely give you some more insights. But the most important thing, just to make some sort of summary of this video, is Cancer 16 degrees. Find this in your chart, please, and see what this house represents for you. Once you do that, reflect about your energy connected to your family, home, past, what you can release there, what is still blocking you, what in this energy is not letting you connect more to this Uranus Aquarius kind of energy, which represents change. And this change will come, as I mentioned, especially from March, but already now 21st, I think, 21st, January 21st, I think we have new moon in Aquarius, new chapter, future. As something different, something that we have never seen before. And March, Pluto in Aquarius, that's a big thing. That's something that definitely will change everything. Of course, not in one day, but that will be the initiation of a huge transformation in humanity. How the world looks like today will definitely not be here in 20 years from now, and I am actually pretty excited that I can be a part of this process. I can observe this process. I can see how things will go. And yeah, I am pretty curious how this astrological transit will be actually manifested in our lives. So we need to be open for change. Uranus in Taurus, also a few more years. Also nodes being in Taurus last year and this year till summer also are talking about embracing this Uranus Aquarius kind of energy. So I feel like today we need to really sit with our emotions, feel it all, cry it all, grieve as much as you can, write your letters, reflect what people, what jobs, what situations, what patterns, what beliefs in you are stopping you on the way to this future. And also reflect about your level of self-confidence, because Chiron is squaring this full moon. Chiron in Aries talks about this energy of, I cannot do this, I'm not good enough, I cannot do this alone. Aries is individuality and leadership. Aries do things by himself and doesn't need companionship. And with Chiron here, we are actually healing for many years now this energy of, I can't, I don't know how to do it. I need some friends to be with me, Libra, opposition to Aries. I need some company. I cannot do this by myself alone. And especially the sense of not being worthy, not being good enough, feeling that others are better than you, so you don't even try because there's so much competition. You will never achieve the goal you have because there are so many people doing this better than you. If you have this sort of mindset, also this is something to heal during the full moon, with Chiron squaring the full moon. And as I mentioned, most of those self-confidence issues are coming from childhood, because when we are children and we are so pure and authentic and we are showing to the world who we are, and someone is constantly judging that, criticizing that, then we might have this energy inside of us for the rest of our lives, thinking that that's true about ourselves. I cannot do this. I don't have capacity, I am not brave enough. I'm too scared. I'm too fearful to risk, And now Jupiter is in Aries till May, so you really want to tap into your boldness and courage and use Jupiter in Aries energy. That is definitely supporting everything Aries like, taking risks, starting new things, initiating new things, being brave enough to do all that you always wanted to do, but you just felt like it's too scary. Now we are supported to do that. And remember, we have 2 retrogrades now, ending soon, Mars and Mercury. So also our energy is now in the past, together with this Cancer past energy and full moon closing chapters, and also Capricorn, talking about those old rules. We are today and for this weekend and for the next few days really into focus on the future. How the past. I was thinking about the past and I said future. That's very typical for Mercury in retrograde, that we are having till January 18th. So just to let you know that yes, now it's a perfect time to think about your past, go through your old pictures, analyze even your transits, your past transits if you want. I do this a lot. Actually, this is helping me a lot to understand my life from a bigger perspective. And, reach out maybe to your old people, past people, maybe to your parents, maybe to your family, to your roots, travel to your homeland, or at least, reflect about that. This can really help you to tap into your past self, release all from your past that doesn't belong to you anymore, release belief system that was kind of implemented in you by other people, but this is not your truth. You have other truths now. You don't need to live in the way like your parents wanted you to live, or your family, or your community that you grew up in, or your school, whatever influenced you and kind of blocked you in self-discovery. Now you can release it with this full moon. That's a perfect time to do that. It's also perfect time to find this final closure, forgiveness in your connection with your parents, with your family. Remember that we all are on some sort of soul journey. I believe that also the type of family we grew up in, that was not a coincidence. That was also some sort of, spiritual journey, maybe spiritual plan for your soul to understand something, to find your path, to dive deeper into yourself. So maybe you needed to go through certain challenges in order to be who you are today. And you know, everything might be different than we think. It's all about changing your perspective and finding everything that happened to you as a lesson, as a wisdom, as something that helped you to also develop your own soul and heal your own soul. So a lot of topics, as you see, this is a very complex full moon. As I mentioned, welcome to my social media. Also, if you would like me to read your chart or do a tarot reading for you, then you can just jump into my website. All the list with my services is there. I do different types of readings, natal chart reading, transit readings, Saturn return reading, very recommendable for people that have Saturn in Pisces, because this journey it's gonna start for you in March this year. So it's good to know what Saturn might demand from you during this transit, so you can get prepared, and maybe you will be more rewarded than judged by Saturn if you prepare in advance. And so that's all that I have for you. I hope this helped. If yes, then please like and subscribe to my channel, and see you on Facebook and Instagram. Have a beautiful time. Even if it's painful, trust me, this is all for something, because the more pain you feel, the past pain, right now, the more released you will be after that. And the more you deal with what is there, this shadow, darker side of your psyche, the more you integrate your shadow, the more light will come into your life. And that's my wish for you, to go through this sort of transformation. So full moon blessings for everybody, and see you next time. Bye bye.